pushing teams that want to launch on rJoe to not have any other outstanding liquidity that could dump on the people who bought in. And it really just is a way for people who have rJoe to buy the token first and then sell it to other people.
I think the market agrees with you because if I'm not mistaken, Platypus has drained a significant amount of liquidity away from Curve on Avalanche.
I can believe it. I don't typically check the TVL numbers, but I can believe it. I think, the APRs currently for staking anything on Platypus, even with, the market being down, they're still really good for stables.
Yeah.
It seems to me like a fairly safe place to keep them. Like I said, you're single-sided staking, so it's not even where you have a share in a stable pool. You just have I put USDC in, you take USDC out. So yeah, I can imagine. I'm personally staking on my stables in Platypus, or at least almost all of them. And what's kind of funny is I told the team, hey, listen, sometimes I just want to withdraw 500, but you have this slider, and I, have to either withdraw 460 or 620. Like, can I just withdraw 500? And they were like, oh, we're not really, we didn't really expect people to use it as a short-term staking. Or just they thought people were just going to put in liquidity to farm it. And it was like, no, I just have dollars that I just want to have earned something. But when I want to take them out, I prefer to take out the exact amount I need to buy something. I think it's used for more things already than the more limited scope than that they had set out for, in a good way.
So I don't know if you guys, the viewer, know this, but there's something coming up called the Platypus Wars, or I think I just learned it was called also the Platypus Party, which I find hilarious.
Yeah. So, on Ethereum or on Curve, you have the Curve Wars, which is essentially, if you have Curve, you can get voting rights. And voting rights can be used to, launch other stable coins or, assign Curve emissions to those stable pools, which basically helps pools launch their stables and get liquidity for them and stuff like that. And then there is, on top of Curve, I think there is Convex, which basically collects all that voting power and then optimizes it, and then you can bribe different people or Convex users to vote in a specific direction, and that's how people get their APRs on Curve. And basically you can do the exact same thing with Platypus. Platypus, if you stake Platypus, you get voting escrow Platypus. Voting escrow Platypus VPTP cannot be traded or exchanged. If you unstake, you lose all of it. But it gives you voting power and it gives you a boost to your rewards. So what protocols like Echidna, Yieldjack, and Vector Finance.
They're the other one doing the launch through rJoe, right?
Yeah, so two of them are doing the launch through rJoe, which is an interesting product. If you want to talk about it, we can also talk about it. But yeah, so Echidna and Vector are both launching through rJoe. Yieldjack is already an existing app, and like I said, it's one of my favorites because it's one of the very first. This is one of the reasons. There's more reasons why I really like Yieldjack. And what they're doing is they're taking your PTP and bringing that into VPTP, voting escrow PTP, so they can have more of the voting power and be bribed, and they'll still also be able to, because your VTP balance also determines your rewards for staking coins. So if you're constantly staking and unstaking, you're never building up VPTP, so your rewards are lower. So your other option is to use one of their protocols, and they will have the VPTP balance, and then hopefully boost your stablecoin APR versus if you deposit it directly into Platypus. So yeah, there's you have the app Platypus, and then there's the entire thing being built on top of it with ecosystems of voting and staking and all that stuff. And the reason that we debate about whether it's Platypus Wars or Platypus Party is, Curve is Curve Wars. So people were always like, oh, Platypus Wars makes sense, and that kind of became ingrained. And then recently Platypus came out, now we would rather be a party. It hasn't completely stuck. But people now refer to it as the Platypus Wars/party.
Since we touched on that subject briefly, what are your thoughts on rJoe? I personally have some mixed feelings about it. I like it a little bit. I do wish that they rJoe was tradable. Besides that, I overall like the idea of, I guess, how it works.
Yeah. Quick note, because I forgot to mention it when we were talking about Platypus. Adventure has invested in Platypus, just for people to be aware. So when I'm very bullish on Platypus, I may have financial incentive to also be very bullish on it. When it comes to rJoe, like I really love the Joe team. Like I said, I have quite a big bag of Joe as well. I don't really like rJoe, and it's because it's a very sheltered environment. And actually, Firestorm in my recent video with Dexlot, he put it really well. Note there that Avengers has invested in Dexlot, and Dexlot is a competitor. But rJoe is a very sheltered environment, and they say it's price discovery, but it's too sheltered for that. Like you're not letting in all the sellers. That's what you saw with Hon, Heroes of NFT, that they only let buyers in, while there were like all these sellers who had like all their tokens from Avengers, not from Avengers, from Avalanche, which were just sitting outside, looking at the price going up, and then they're ready to dump as soon as the pool opened up. So they learned from that in a way by making sure that whatever launches now doesn't have any outstanding liquidity. So they can only be buyers, which, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine if the protocol really doesn't have any other outstanding liquidity. That's kind of okay, but you're still like limiting the buying side as well, because only rJoe buyers can buy in, and only, I believe, and I've not used it, so I'm not 100% sure, only up to a certain amount, which is limited by the amount of rJoe you have.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's also not really a discovery of like what is the appetite of the market for this token. It's more like a second launch pad almost, where a limited group of people can buy in, and then they will try and sell to the rest of the market. And when if rJoe or the Joe team starts pushing teams that want to launch on rJoe to not have any other outstanding liquidity that could dump on the people who bought in, and it really just is a way for people who have rJoe to buy the token first and then sell it to other people. So that's why I'm not at this moment extremely excited about it. I think the overall idea is good. I think the implementation doesn't really work until you let everyone in, like regardless of whether they have rJoe or not. And then I'm happy if there's like another mechanism that rewards rJoe users, because currently I think they get the small boost as well. Maybe just only keep that. But for discovery, I don't think it's a very good solution, in my opinion.
I'd never actually thought of it like that. I thought of it purely from my personal point of view as somebody who had a little bit of rJoe and go in there and I'm watching the price of Fief go up or whatever other token, but yeah, when you think about it like that, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I really like the team, and I think the overall idea is good, but the implementation could use some work.
Oh, fair enough. Fair point. What did you think of Fief Guild, the project itself, not even the rJoe release?